What's up, Taiwan? I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's foreign ministry says the greatest threat to global stability is Russia and China undermining the international order. The statement comes in reaction to remarks by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin said China's policy towards Taiwan is reasonable and that Taiwan is creating a Ukraine-style crisis. The foreign ministry says Putin is misrepresenting Taiwan's sovereign status and pointed out that the Chinese Communist Party has never ruled Taiwan. A memorial service has been held in Taipei for a Taiwanese soldier who died fighting on the front lines in Ukraine. Wu Zhongda is the second volunteer from Taiwan to have died fighting for Ukraine since Russia invaded in 2022. Cadence Quaranta reports.
Here at this church in Taipei, a memorial has been held for a Taiwanese volunteer soldier who died while fighting Russian forces in Ukraine. 44-year-old Wu Zhongda was a retired veteran of Taiwan's Army Special Forces Command. Another Taiwanese volunteer who served with him told local media he died during a heavy shelling by Russia. At least 40 people have shown up to mourn his death. They lined up one by one to place flowers under a photo of Wu. And those who knew Wu shared memories of him and also told of why he chose to go to Ukraine. People here told us this was Wu's second time in Ukraine. Nancy Shi, who spent time volunteering for war efforts in Ukraine and supported Wu on his mission there, remembers one of her last interactions with him. Shi says one of Wu's teammates called her to tell her about his death. He told her Wu had been hit by a bomb, but they were under such strong attack, the team had to leave. Around 40 people showed up to this church to mourn his death. Wu is the second Taiwanese soldier known to have died fighting in Ukraine. In 2022, a 25-year-old soldier named Zheng Shengguang was killed in battle. Ukraine's fight against Russia has resonated with many in Taiwan as the country faces its own existential threat from an authoritarian neighbor. China claims Taiwan and has threatened to take it by force if necessary. A small number of Taiwanese people have gone to Ukraine to fight, though it's not known exactly how many. Now, people gather here to honor one of the fallen and what they say was his fight for freedom. Joseph Wu and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is donating 60 ambulances, fire trucks, and rescue vehicles to Ukraine. The Taiwan Association of Community Advancement worked with private companies and local governments in Taiwan to procure the donated vehicles. The organization has delivered 140 vehicles to Ukraine since 2023, with the latest batch being the fourth round of donations. During the handover ceremony, tributes were paid to Wu Zhongda, the second Taiwanese volunteer to die fighting in Ukraine. The rescue vehicles are set to be shipped in 10 days and ready to be used in Ukraine in the next few months. One of Taiwan's largest national parks is hosting a concert 7 months after the area was devastated by a massive earthquake. Rick Glauert reports on how Taroko is hoping to move on from disaster through music and dance.
With some of Taiwan's most dramatic natural scenery as a backdrop, the indigenous Taroko people of the country's rugged east coast celebrate a way of life they've lived for millennia. But this performance also includes a dramatization of a more recent event, when the community was shaken by an earthquake. Just 7 months ago, a 7.2 magnitude quake left 18 people dead and hundreds injured nationwide, many in this national park, where rockfalls and landslides have left most of the park inaccessible, decimating the local tourism-based economy. now, this annual concert is being held at the Visitors Centre, the only safe part of the park.
大概是有一点点气氛，不过我们今天表达的感觉比较像是用传统乐器跟歌谣去做一个为这个大地，然后为太鲁阁峡谷去做一个抚慰，这样子。
也是会心痛啦，因为毕竟这是我们的家园，我们的家乡，对。但是没关系，反正就是要给大自然休息一段时间。那其实休息完之后，可能又会有不一样的风貌。
当然，每一个人生活都会碰到一些困境啦。那大家，如果有机会大家互相帮忙。
Damage to roads, hiking trails, bridges and car parks is extensive. Work to reconstruct the park and make it safe will cost tens of millions of US dollars, take years, and is easily disrupted.
因为到目前为止已经1000多起的这个余震，那从7月、8月到现在已经历经了3次非常巨大的台风的这样子的侵扰，那所以每次的侵扰大概都会造成2次、3次的灾害，那都是地震之后我们的地质环境被松动了。
Organisers hope that as local indigenous people perform alongside Taiwan big hitters like the National Symphony Orchestra, it will demonstrate that although Toroko's natural scenery is damaged, its culture continues. The scars of the earthquake are still evident on the hills of this national park, but attendees say that this valley and its people have a powerful resilience rooted in nature. It's just a matter of time, they say, until this area returns to its former natural beauty. John Su and Rick Lowett in Hualien County for TaiwanPlus.
More than 100 outdoor enthusiasts and climate activists took to the streets of Taipei ahead of the UN COP29 climate conference that starts next week. It's the second time these groups have marched to call for government action on climate change. They say recent extreme weather events brought on by global warming are threatening Taiwan's natural spaces and ecosystems. They're calling for the government to be more active in implementing climate policies. At least 24 people have been killed in a suicide bombing in Quetta in Pakistan's Balochistan region.
काफ़ी लोग इधर उधर भाग दौड़ कर रहे थे, कोई जख्मी थे, कोई किस तरह थे, कोई किस तरह थे, किसी की पाँव नहीं है, किसी के हाथ नहीं है, किसी की टांगें नहीं है, तो काफ़ी लोग जो है इधर उधर.
Authorities say more than 50 people have been hospitalized in critical condition. Secessionist militant group Baloch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack. Balochistan province has been grappling with a surge in attacks by ethnic separatists. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump campaigned hard with pledges to reset the relationship between the United States and China. For more on where those ties could be heading, Alec McDonald spoke with Alfred Wu, a professor at the National University of Singapore.
As we are just days removed from the U.S. presidential election and Donald Trump is going back to the White House for a second time, how has China been reacting to this unprecedented election?
Many people are quite concerned about Donald Trump's election because they will be worried that Donald Trump's tariff imposed on China would be too substantial for China. Then China's economic situation would be even worse. So many Chinese observers suggest that China's leaders may actually try to have something prepare for even worse scenario compared with Biden administration. So they will actually double down on their own self-sufficiency strategy. They try to actually boost their own technology advancement.
Throughout his campaign, Donald Trump said that tariffs would be his main tool in a potential trade war. What can and what will China do to counteract this tool?
China may impose tariffs on additional U.S. goods, particularly some significant export volumes like agriculture and energy. I would say that China will not actually try to be seen weaker than before. China want to be seen stronger than before. So China also will be try to have alternative trade partnership. It means that China will be trying to tap into existing channels to enhance trade relationship with other countries. For example, China has spent great efforts on enhancing a trade relationship with the ASEANs in ASEAN member countries in the past few years. I think China is fully prepared for that. But of course, because of in public opinion surveys, you could see that many countries have anti-China sentiments, including countries in Europe, in North America, even in ASEAN member countries.
So, as part of this potential trade war, you mentioned Asian nations, and we have seen many Asian nations actually try to stay neutral in between a US and China trade war. Do you think under Trump that there might be a race between the US and China for influence among the Asian nations?
I think ASEAN member countries are very anxious and also very much worried about Donald Trump's re-election. But if you look into ASEAN members, public opinions over China and also US are very divided. Some latest surveys result also suggest that they know that China play a bigger role compared with before, and China become a very, very strong country in the region. But in the meantime, if asked one question about if China become number one, whether they will be worried. I mean, many of them actually are quite concerned about that. So, but in the meantime, they are also quite concerned about Donald Trump's re-election. So here, the point will be like, now we enter into a kind of chaotic situation. We don't have a very, very much like, a benign China. In the meantime, we also don't have very much benign US president.
That was Alfred Wu of the National University of Singapore. A unique Taiwanese production is on tour in the US. It's wowed audiences with its unlikely combination of dance and engineering. Dancing with a Robot. Taiwanese choreographer Wong has brought his long-running production, Hangi and Cuka, on tour to Southern California. It's an unsettling, futuristic work that combines modern dance with AI technology. Wong has been performing the piece for over a decade, but says audiences find it ever more relevant today.
开始有 AI， 开始有机器人即将要进入我们的生活，所以大家开始去注意到这些作品。
The performance was staged at the California Institute of Technology, and some observed that the choreographer's Taiwanese roots could be felt in the challenge of programming the robot, showcasing the technological expertise that Taiwan is known for, while also showcasing the country's strong culture of creative art.
This is an example of cultural diplomacy. It's an example to our local audiences that may not be familiar with how much creativity there is in Taiwan, to get a taste of what kind of creative work is being done.
Some of the many Taiwanese Americans living in the Pasadena area also came to support Wong and his work.
As a Taiwanese American art and culture organization, we kind of aiming to have interaction with the mainstream American culture. And I think this is a perfect opportunity. I think it can bring the people, Taiwanese people, American people, community together.
After California, Wong is set to take his U.S. tour to North Carolina and Florida, bringing this unique feat of Taiwanese art and engineering to more audiences. Leon Lian and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, check out these 15 competitors braving Antarctica's freezing cold in a unique ultra-endurance race. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan, Paris, France, and around the world, please follow TaiwanPlus on social media and download our app. Man, that's beautiful.